on this wonderful Wednesday, May 30th. Filling in for STT, I'm your host, Stock Sumo. We got the birds chirping and the bees are working on Stock Traders Talk Radio tonight. It's going to be just me, myself, and Cifikea. Welcome to the show, Cifikea. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, aloha, Sumo. Yep, me and the birds. The sun is out and shining here. Maui no ka oi. Got the whole pack of animals with me, so if you hear them start going crazy, you know it's on like Donkey Kong,
Oh,
right?
I love it. It adds that extra ambience. As the sun is setting here on the East Coast in New York, the sun is staying strong over there by you. So good stuff. I love the diversity. And, you know, diversity should be appreciated in your portfolio as well. And tonight, I want to talk a little bit about a couple different things. We're going to switch it up on a whole different gear tonight. We're going to be totally scattershot because it's just me and Cifikea, and we could do whatever we want, and that's how it's going to roll. So, with that being said, why don't we just have a lot of fun tonight and talk about a bunch of different stuff and keep it cool for our listeners. And if anybody tuning in wants to, talk about something that they like to get off their chest, they can feel free to drop it in the chat room, talk about it on our message board, or they can call in at 855-STT-LIVE. So we're going to take it freestyle tonight, and we're just going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. So we'll go with some OTC stocks, some big boards, and whatever else is happening in the market. I'll tell you what was heating up today on the Buzz Cloud, though, was those A stocks. How about those A stocks, Siffy?
They were pretty nuts, man. STT, he loves those A stocks. It's funny, we were just talking about him last night, and he was saying, do your research. He's telling me and Haas, I'm not sure if you were still on the horn with us, Sumo, but he basically said, hey, A is the way, and you can see it again today. A is dominating up there. I'm not saying that's the only things that ran, but I think he's on to something, that STT. Man, a few words, but when he speaks, must listen.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I mean, just look at how many of those A stocks are buzzing today. They're just flourishing in the buzz cloud. You got Apple. Of course, we talk about the options on Apple all the time. Apple was a beast today. AAPT, another one we've been talking about a while on the show. That thing was a beast today. ACYD had a nice move today. We've talked about that a few times for sure. AEGY, AGRT. I mean, I could just go on and on. There's just too many to keep talking about over here. AUCI.
How about you talk about ALGF, considering thing just keeps beasting?
Oh, how about ALGF?
I know you and Haas have been pounding the table on this. Haas even did a mini spotlight. Let's check it out, man. Give us the skinny on it, Sumo.
Well, you can go back to our board on Investors Hub, and you can see that Haas first mentioned this bad boy around the 0001 range, or 0003, excuse me. And we'll do the quick search here. ALGF.
Yep, April 3rd, he said ALGF 0.0003 radar.
Let's go to that post.
That's my new thing, is I try to find penny stocks before Haas. Let me tell you, it ain't easy. Dang it. Damn you, Haas. I'll get there before you. I think I found one. Then I'll go search our board. Haas is already on it. Pisses me off. At least he's part of the team.
The kid's doing it time and time again. We got a team of inner ringers here. We're all a bunch of ringers. We like to have fun in what we do, and we're always keeping it live and flowing off the cuff. And we see something that comes up on our radar or hits our scanner, boom, we're going to be talking about it. No questions asked. And as you can see here, Haas caught this one. He noticed at that time there was a thin float. Let's go back to some of his other posts here. Look, 67 million OS. BCN stocks posted on April 3rd in a follow-up to one of Haas's posts and said no sell-off today after it hit 001 on the close. This can go much higher. So big shout out to BCN stocks. Nice follow-up to one of Haas's posts. She was keen to what he was talking about at that time. And as you can see, boom, the thing's exploding today. Let's just take a quick look at the chart on ALGF and see what she's doing. Look at that.
Beast.
Miraculous. Up 60% today on 4.6 million shares. Now, the key to this chart was once it broke above the moving averages. Notice she tried right here early April, beginning of April, she had a big boost up from 000 land all the way up to 002. Couldn't get above that 200-day moving average. She fell below that, but yet it held above the 20-day, which is a key thing. She held above that 20-day as support, tried to get above that 200-day, couldn't. Again, fell below, but holding above the 20-day as support, which is a key sign. And then once she broke above that 200-day, boom, it was explosion time after that. And then you've seen the result of some substantial gains, up another 60%. Yet from 0003, when Haas first mentioned it, yep.
What is that, 1,200% gain, Sumo?
That's almost a 20-bagger.
Nice one, Haas.
Congrats, bud. Good stuff.
Yep. Algae Farm USA.
We definitely want to keep a close eye on this. And a lot of people were making comparison to BEHL. That was another algae play. But I remember that play back then. That was one of those big promo plays. And so far, I haven't seen any promotions on this play. I haven't seen any paid promoters. And there's a very tight float here. You can see the outstanding is 608 million. It's not like there's billions of shares out. Oftentimes the case, you see these stocks at 000 land trading, and they have billions of shares outstanding. No, that's not the case here. As of the April 23rd was the last date share structure was reported, and this is according to OTC Markets. And their transfer agent is Pacific Stock Transfer. So if you have any questions, you can call them. I'm not sure if they're gagged or ungagged. That'd be interesting to find out. But apparently, Mr. Berman, the CEO, Richard Berman, owns 88% of the OS, which is 534 million shares. So that's a key thing to keep in mind. Just a little bit of DD to follow up here on ALGF, which has been a monster, absolute monster. Up another 60% today, compiling some substantial gains. Good stuff. Let's take a look at DD Amanda, and we'll punch in ALGF and see what she's saying.
You see they got the Golden Cross scanner on there now on DD Amanda, Sumo.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yup. Check it out.
I'm not really familiar with DD Amanda. I don't get to use it as much as you guys.
Stuff,
I've been
good
so busy
stuff.
with other things. And you know what? Let me.
In all honesty, I mean, come on. They've only told us a million times. Where do you think Haas and Kopp keep finding these 12-bagger, 15, 20, 30, 40 baggers before the street does? You know, it ain't a crystal ball. It's DD Amanda.
Yeah, so you can see that the dollar volume's really stepped up on ALGF here as of recently. Before, you've seen the stock trading in the, really thin range. Had a big day here, 6,000. That was big. But back here, it really lit up here. 41,000 was traded, and that is what must have sent off a bunch of radars here in the beginning of April 3rd, to be exact. 35 million shares, and sent the stock from 0003 to 001, and the volume tapered off, but then seen it pick up again here a little bit. But then as of recently here, you've seen the volume start to really pick up a little bit. You're not talking some huge days, but it's definitely something to keep on your radar, because you've seen these percentage swings as you've seen today. So nice activity there all around.
Nice. Good stuff. Hey, I got another one for you here, man.
Let's do it.
All right. I got to throw this one out there because I actually found one before you, Haas. IDVC.
Oh, yeah. IDVC has been going strong in the buzz cloud. No questions asked. The chart has been ridiculous. I don't know too much about the DD side of this one, but let's just go straight to the chart. And you can see today was a huge day, getting past some big moving averages. I'm gonna shift gears and pass it to you and let you run with the chart, Siffy, because I'm boring myself with talking about the chart too much. I like hearing your input.
Oh man, I don't got the chart set up, but I'll look at your chart. I can see it.
You look at mine, and I'll highlight while you talk.
Okay. Well, actually, what I want you to do for me is, I love that chart there. You can see, got through that 20 MA like a beast. Got through that 50 and the 100, and it looks like now we're trying to head up to that 200 MA. I can't really see what that 200 MA is at on your chart, but
it's sitting at 011.
011. Nice. So we still got some upside in this, it looks like. Looks like we got some other resistances before that, though. Looks like you got all those previous swing highs lined up along there. Sorry, I can't make those out either, but you guys get my drift. But basically, Sumo, what I want you to do is I want to pat myself on the back and go to my post, man.
All right,
let's look at that chart, because it's got my weekly in it, and it shows it what it's done for the week. And that's how I found this, is on a weekly hammer chart setup.
Boom.
Actually,
that's
beat
on
Haas
526.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to get into
this a bottom
OTC
Saturday
world here, you know. I'm loving it. You know, I always liked trading them. 9 times out of 10, I lost money on them. But my hat's off to you guys that make money at these pennies. But even finding them is tough enough. But good fun. Been trying to find some. I got some new scanners set up, and this is one of the ones that was found on my scanner. So it's been working good so far. And up through that 20 MA, you look on this chart, you got that 0.009. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. You also get that 0.0065. Looks like we went up and went over about, 2 points over, went to 6.7 today and pulled back. But at least we held above that 20 MA. I'd like to see it hold above that 20 MA for the week, because you can see the last couple times it didn't do that, where it failed and fell apart. Because you know, back in March, there was people looking around at this thing, thinking the same thing we're looking now on that almost identical candle at that 0.0022, and then it rounded up again in 0.009, and you know, somebody was talking about higher highs. So just like any low multiple stock, you better be careful. But for now, IDVC kicking butt. I'd like to see it move higher. How high? Who knows? But just want to throw that out there real quick. What do you got on our due diligence, or anything you want to add to that, Sumo?
No, I don't really want to add much to that. I know we covered it last night, and I want to admit that yesterday I was saying, oh, it would be great to, be in this stock prior to the day before, being before the weekend, the holiday weekend, and take profits into yesterday. And as you can see, you know, it would have been good to help, you know, cut some of those profits, but to hold on to some of those shares because boom, today it, you know, it broke through some of those other moving averages. It held above the 20, which was a key point yesterday, and I highlighted that when we talked about it. And as you can see today, it, you know, the candle that it made today, it really didn't dip much at all. It only fell below where she closed. Like that was the low of the day, so it was a very strong candle. So this thing's showing some strength on big volume, increasing volume. What I'd like to see moving forward is it to hold above these moving averages. Definitely got to hold above the 50 and the 100, which are both sitting right around the same range there at 004.
Yep. Agreed.
But definitely a strong move. You know, in a lot of cases on these penny stocks, a 2, 3, 4 day run that can be, you know, pretty substantial. You really have to expect some sort of a pullback or consolidation after that. I mean, how long can these things really go? You know, the other thing you pointed out was that 200-day, which there's some upside there, and if she can get to that, then that would be a huge sign. But you know, chances are if she can't break above that, like as you could see there in the past, which you pointed out at 009, she kind of struggled, and that's, you know, that's just about where the 200-day is. So there's going to be some resistance there, and there's no questions asked.
Good stuff, man. Well, we patted Haas on the back. We patted me on the back. Now I got one for you, Sumo, that pats you on the back. You know which one I'm talking about?
No, go for it.
Okay, and we're sticking with the A's. AGRT.
Oh, yeah, AGRT. Let's take a look at AGRT on the day. A lot of different players on this. You can see the iBox filled up with some different players. You got H-Dog on there, Small Caps Market, and some other guys. As of March 12th of OS of 183,000 shares, which a lot of time has transpired since March, so I wouldn't be surprised if that hasn't changed since then. I'd have to go to OTC markets and see what their status is there before I make any assumptions. But with that being said, let's see what the daily's activity was. The day's range was between 40 and 66 cents. So pretty volatile stock there. Now you got to keep in mind, we talked about this one on last night's show, and it had a 250% plus gain yesterday. Ridiculous volume.
Well, you called it at 30. I remember it was sitting at 30 cents when you were talking about it and we were watching the level 2.
Yeah, we hit, you know, it was one of those stocks that hit the scanner, and we, you know, as soon as it hit the scanner, I went and looked at some of my other, put some feelers out there and looked at some of my other resources, looked at the emails and seen who was talking about it, chat rooms, blogs, this, that, and the other thing. And I saw that there was some heavy promotions on it. There was a big budget behind it. And sure enough, boom, yesterday from 30 cents had that big move. But it was already up significantly when we caught it. And today you've seen that slight dip in the morning. You could see it didn't really open up. It actually gapped down and then dipped. But it was the dip and rip. And then boom, it exploded. Early in the day, between 10:30 and 11:30 is when it really peaked out, and then since, you know, those trading hours, it kind of downtrended and kind of closed just slightly up on the day, but a lot of volume there. And this is the second day into the promotion, but you got to think, are these things front loaded going into the promotion? Because that happens in a lot of cases. So let's just take a look at the chart on it real fast. See what the volume was going into these couple of days here. So you can see that some volume was starting to trickle in here. And we'll go to DD Amanda just to confirm that. But you can see that it had a big spike up here early in the year, and then came down on and it really wasn't trading much volume during that time. It was very light volume, And then this is when it really started trading here in the month of May. They found a bottom in the stock at 9. It had a spike up, found resistance at the 20-day moving average. And then boom, once she popped up above that resistance on the 20-day moving average, you've seen her pop up. And today she climbed up to the 50-day but couldn't get above it. And that's where she fell down. And who knows where it's going to go from here. What was good was it held above the 20-day. So I'd like to see it hold above the 20-day from here on out. You know, again, it's on heavy promotion, and today is like day 2 of the promotion. So, like I was saying earlier, some of these, you know, stocks, they like to have a 2-3 day run. Can they be extended further after that? It's tough. I mean, it's really tough. So we'll see what happens from here on out.
Good stuff, man. I guess you could, minus the little dead spots on that, you could call that a falling wedge, which is generally a bullish pattern. Even though it looks like it's falling, is where, you know, the rising wedge looks like it's rising is actually a bearish pattern. So remember that one.
This.
Remember that one, Sumo.
I've heard rumors before of some certain, I'm not going to name any names, but certain people out there putting video charts out, and it could be the so-called kiss of death. So we'll just see what happens, you know. And I'm not going to say anything other than that.
Kiss of death.
All right.
Haven't heard of that one before.
We'll see what Dee Amanda says here. See what she says on AGRT. Once you see the dollar volume really start to slope off, then you start to see the okay. So you see today was this was yesterday. Obviously, we haven't gotten today's dollar volume, but yesterday was $5.7 million in shares traded. So on DD Amanda, they don't post it until midnight. So we're not going to know what today's dollar volume was yet. I'm sure you can find that at other resources. But what generally happens, and what I've seen in the past, is once the dollar volume slopes off, once it hits its peak, that's generally when the price per share peaks out. It really takes a lot of, you know, it's just the general rule of thumb. Buying begates buying, and it's all about supply and demand. And if there's more of a demand and there's less of a supply, then generally things are going to move up. And as you can see, yesterday there was a high demand. The dollar volume was increasing significantly. You've seen the price per share move up substantially. The day before, the price was around 13 cents. There's some substantial volume, 382,000, which was abnormally large for this stock going into the day. The day, few days before that, about a week before, it traded over 100,000 shares, $100,000, and hit a high of 25 cents. And that's when the loading really started to happen. You know, you've seen this day right here. You've seen $28,500 traded, 167,000 shares. So people were loading it up. These are the front loaders coming in, and I'm sure they were captivating this liquidity that really transpired over the past couple of days here. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Okay,
what do you got
I
for
got another one
next,
here for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Sticking with these A's. Let's check out AEGY. Alternative Energy. Had news today. I'm sure Haas probably hit it this morning, but if not, let's look at it anyways.
All right, let's just go straight to the chart. And you can see today was a nice up day. Tried to get through some of these moving averages, but couldn't budge above that. You see that? You've seen the big volume increase. She tried to get above those moving averages here. this 100 day has been a bit of a resistance point. You can notice that right here in the beginning of May, she struggled to get above the 200 or the 100 day moving average, and today it reconfirmed that this is a big resistance point. And unfortunately, she couldn't hold above the 50 and the 20 day. But there's some big volume here going on, and it held above the 50 and the 20 day for a bit of time here. And once she broke down below that, she struggled to get back above it, and it's fighting to get above those moving averages. So it's trading in a tight channel. You can see that there's a solid level of support here at about the 0013 level, and below that 0011 there's a solid level of support. She doesn't want to break below that. On these days over here, I don't really count that as a low, because you could tell the volume wasn't really that high. So it might have been a misprint of some sort, but you can tell other than that, it's a pretty solid level of support here at 0011 and 0013. So she's been struggling to get above these moving averages. I'd like to see her get above those moving averages moving forward, but not a bad day overall. 21% gain on the day and good volume, like I was pointing that out. I'd like to see that continue.
Definitely right, and you know, looking at this chart, the reason why I like this, not to mention just because of the big volume and what's going on with it there, but you can just see the long consolidation. The thing's been trading this tight channel, and like Sumo said, those moving averages are starting to converge on that 100 MA, and that last candle there, white spinning top, and it's low reliability, but it's a neutral reversal / continuation pattern. So telling you that AEGY is in takeoff mode, or let's call it breakout mode or breakdown mode. But either way, she is definitely getting ready to do her thing, and but it's a indecision. So let's see what she decides to do and keep her on the watch list. AEGY. You got anything else to add to that, Sumo?
No, that's pretty much sums it up. Good job.
Cool, man. So let's keep rocking these A's, and we got to go there. I know we go there every day. You know where I'm going?
Oh, I know where you're going. AAPT.
Damn, you are good, Sumo. AAPT, All American Pet Company.
Well, Rocky. We haven't talked about this one enough. I really don't think. I mean, these guys got the good pet products. I'm a huge animal advocate. It just makes for a happy life. It
just makes me feel good.
If you got a cool pet, it's nothing like, it's like coming home to a kid. And I don't have a pet, and I don't have a kid. I'm lucky because I don't have those responsibilities. But if you're coming home, you know, you get to see your pet when you come home. You're like, that dog or cat, it, you know, comes and greets you, and it's nothing like feeling that. And why don't you talk more about animals than me, Siffy? Because you got a couple of dogs, and I know how much you care for them, and it's just like having, you know, it's an extension of you.
Well, you know, what more can you say about dogs, except especially dogs, man's best friend. I'm a big believer in that. I'll keep the shorty short, but my dog taught me more than any human being besides my mother. Love you, Mom. But yep, love dogs. But All American Pet Company, we love this one too. This was a stock spotlight of STT. I can't say Cop did it, but Cutie Cal did it. She's no longer with us. Took another job. You're lost, girl. But hey, that was a great interview or spotlight, and it went boom, big time. I think this is a 40+ bagger. But yep, we can't hang Cop's hat on this one, but we can hang STT's. And you know what? Cop found it. I guarantee you that. But yeah, enough of me going on into the past. AAPT, All American Pet Company, today just cranked I mean, absolutely cranked again. Only up 15%, but man, what more can you ask for? Look at the volume on this thing, even these higher price per shares. Back-to-back days of 7 million, almost 7.5 million shares traded. So that's pretty cool. I am starting to get a little bit worried about these wicks you see on the last couple days. I'd like to see them get above that. You can see that 795.8 area is posing a problem, or a 795, 785 today. So keep your eye on that. This thing hasn't held run, but one thing I want to point out on this chart here, where when Sumo goes to it, is the same pattern you see on AAPT. Obviously, it's a shorter term pattern. You see from that 0398 to where it broke out, but that's what we're looking for, is where you got a long consolidation, you can draw some lines, and then when they break above them or break down below, you know, breakouts trigger trading. Let the chart do the buying and the selling for you. It works a lot better than trying to speculate where she's going on our gut. Let the gut come in after the chart talks to you. At least that's how I like to rock it. But yep, AAPT. What else you got here, Sumo?
I want to go through some DD before we break down the chart, because I know these guys have had some press releases out lately. I know they've had a lot of announcements, and that's what we're looking for. These guys are making some progress with building their business and building their brand. You know, it's not like they have one product that they rely on. They have several products. It's a strong company. It seems like they're building a brand with their products. And from what I've heard in the past, what I've read on some of the message boards is that, you know, through their filings, that they still have announcements coming out with some other products that they're going to be rolling out. And that's where you're seeing the uptick action. You notice that they've had some press releases here recently. They've acquired, they had a board of directors meetings in Europe, opened the doors to international markets. They've had addition to 16 new sales personnel. So you've seen some, you know, frequent press releases out of this company. In the month of May, they've already had 4 press releases. Okay, in April they had 2 press releases. In March, they had 3, just going till the 8th of March. So they're pretty, you know, consistent here with putting out news, and I would expect to see that continue. You know, you just got to follow the trend, and as you can see with the trend on the chart, boom, nothing but an uptrend once she broke these moving averages. You can see she broke above that 200-day and tried to stay above it, but unfortunately she broke down. That pullback was a nice opportunity to reload, and then boom, she bounced right off of these moving averages, which were the 100-day and the 50-day. She sprung over those, and then she held above those moving averages, and ever since she really hasn't turned back. She held above these averages right here. The 50-day was significant, but holding above that 20 is key. And you notice right here, once she held above that 20, it's just been all upswing and higher highs, higher lows on, you know, consistent volume. You see it trading 7.5 million shares. So nice volume today. Hit a high today of 0785, which was right around yesterday's high, which was 0795. So she's running into a little bit of resistance around the 8-cent mark. But still, from 002, from when we had the spotlight, hello, huge, huge gains. Nothing but consistency here with STTRADIO. And if you don't know, now you know.
Well, you know, one thing I love about that chart is you can see when it all started and really took off is when that 20 crossed through that 50 in March. And then, you know, the 20 and crossing through, you know, the 100, and then the 50 coming up behind it. And then, like you said, it went up through that. It went to the 200. It retested that 200, and then it came down, and it found that support on that 100 MA mixed with the support of that 50 MA. And then you can see that nice wick coming off that 003, and the continuation continued, and the rest is history. You can see the 20 MA and the 50 MA have been your go-to guy, and yep, loving it. Want to see if it can go higher. If you throw some lines on it, you can see, you know, throw the lines on the bottom, throw the lines on the top, and you could say, you know, this is definitely in a channel, and you know, you drop it off that 0.0105 laid on that 0.0398. You definitely got more upside potential. I'm not saying that she's going higher, but I'm just saying that channel. But then if you draw on the 0.001, lay it on the bottom and just let it rest on that 0.02 as this last May, you got a lot of downside as well. So yeah, AAPT, it's been a beast, and I wouldn't doubt to see her continue the massive volume either to the upside or the downside. But what a vehicle, no doubt.
Definitely some good stuff, and great company, good follower. Let's just take a look at the share structure and see what the share structure is, just to refresh ourselves and anybody tuning in that hasn't heard about this one before. So as of June 20th, 2011, the OS was 230 million, and float 105 million, authorized shares 250 million. So something to keep in mind, the OS is just shy of the AS, so they really can't have much room to run to increase the OS. You know, that's a good sign in my opinion. You know, if the AS was a lot higher, they would have you know, availability to increase the OS. Right here you can see the OS is only 230 million, which is right by the AS, so they really don't have much room to go. So that's something to keep in mind, and that's probably why the stock continues to perform well. It looks like they're not diluting here, in my opinion. So, all right, good stuff.
Okay, you ready for another one?
Sure, what do we got?
All right, well, here at STT, we try to bring you all winners, but I'm going to bring you guys a loser. There's a few reasons I'm bringing it, not just because it's an A stock, but because it's at some key levels going back all the way to the beginning of the year, even till last year. And that's ticker symbol ASYI, AI Systems Incorporated. Throw you for a loop there, Sumo?
Yeah, buddy.
What you got on
right.
ASYI? Besides that, we got a multiple bottom going on here as far as I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Full retracement, as the Fibonacci guys like to say.
Yeah, look what she's done in the past. You can see that this thing has been all over the board. There's been ups, there's been downs, ups and downs, and now we're back in a downtrend. And she's trying to find a bottom after, you know, finding this area of support in the past. What's good about this is there's been a lot of volume over the past couple months here. A lot of activity going on in this stock. Today, almost 100 million shares traded. I really don't have much DD to talk about on this one, other than, you know, it's been good for some swings in the past. And, you know, you can see once it got above the moving averages, it held above it, bounced off that 100-day, had the big catapult up to the 200-day, couldn't hold above it. She fell back, and once she broke below the 100-day, she could not hold above it and has been struggling to get it back above it since. So it's really tough to see, you know, tell where this one is going to bounce
Where's
from here.
Haas when you need him to tell us what's going on with this thing, huh?
Yeah.
So I see something here.
It just looks
from
pretty
the 28th,
diluted.
they raised the AS to $5 billion.
Oh, yeah, we got to look at that. Let's take a look at the filings here real fast. I'm not as good as Haas or Cop, but I'll try to take a look and see
We
what their
will wing
filings say.
it. No
We'll wing
shame.
it. Off the cuff here. Take a look at their financials.
Let's take a look at this piece of shit.
Let's take a look at this POS. All right. Going to the 10Q. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to attempt to pretend
You
like
want
I
to
know.
read that filing for us? Break it down, Sumo?
I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to try to do my best here, but I'm not going to pretend like I know what Cap knows or what Haas knows, because these guys are good at digging through stuff. I'm more of a chartist and looking at some
Me
of
and
the.
Sumo are more professional BSers than fundamentalists. So, hold your breath here.
All right, from April 1st to May 17th, the company issued a total of 289 million shares. So I'm seeing a big conversion there. On April 5th, the company increased its authorized from 300 million to 750 million. Okay, this is what you were talking about then. So I'm not as bad as I claim to be.
Nah, you're good, man.
On April 19th, they entered in a letter of intent with this, cool telecom, and then it may be terminated. That's what they're saying by July 19th. And we haven't quite seen July 19th yet. So right now we're in a standstill. But from what I do remember, they had also pulled this shenanigan before. I remember ASYI entered into another letter of intent, and they didn't execute upon it, I think, from what I remember. I could be wrong, but I thought I remember it could be a different play. But from what I think is they entered into a letter of intent before. They didn't complete it. Let's see if this one happens, because as in often the case, you never know what's going to happen. All I know is that they just increased their AS from 300 million to 750 million. So somebody is selling shares. And they just converted 289 million shares to 3 convertible note holders. So 3 different debt holders of the company, approximately $437,890 in debt that they converted 289 million shares. All right, I could be wrong. Again, all I know is we're seeing the AS go up. We're seeing them convert shares. So that just spells out dilution, and we're going to leave it at that.
Okay, good enough for me.
And you've seen the volume increase. You've seen it struggling to get up through the moving averages. You've seen increased volume. Somebody is dumping shares, and you notice it moved up high before on less shares. Now all of a sudden all this volume's coming in and it's struggling to get above. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I'm going to keep it on the radar, though, just because of all those past histories of finding this level. I bet somebody was saying the same thing back in the day when it was sitting here before. What do you bet?
Sure. Why not?
But with that being said, if it broke below those levels, can you say Quad City?
Oh, in a heartbeat. You see?
So we're gonna wrap that one there. I got one more for you. Another A stock that I'm liking, and this is a old school one going way back. 36 bagger. Let's look at ATRN.
Oh yeah.
Intrinsic Incorporated.
All right, let's. We're gonna do things ass backwards tonight. Instead
Nice.
of going with the DD, we're just going to go straight for the chart, and then we'll go to the
Let's go
DD.
straight for the chart. You go ahead and
That's where
break that down, then I got a couple things to throw in there if you don't touch on them. All right, Sumo?
You got it. All right. In the past, the stock made the big run up from 0088 when we spotlighted it and hit a high of 35.99 cents. Now, since then, you've seen it consolidate down, but you notice it's trading in a tight channel. And it hit this low right here, and since then, it's been curling up. And notice the moving averages are trying to settle, and they also want to turn up. The big thing here is the RSI, which is bouncing off the 50 overlay, which is a very key sign. As long as this 50 overlay stays below the RSI and the RSI can push above the 50 line and goes back to the power zone, that's going to be great. So we want to keep an eye on the RSI. It needs to hold above that 50 MA overlay. And we'd like to see the PPO continue to move up north and continue past that 50 overlay. She passed it just as the same time about as the RSI passed it, and so did the slow stow. So these all need to hold above the 50 overlay. I'd like to see the slow stow cross right here. I'd like to see these lines cross and the black line, which is the slow stow, get above that red line, and the red line diverge. I'd like to see those lines split apart. So that's something that we're going to be looking for here. I'm just looking into the future, and if I could prophesize and see the future and how this chart would want to set up, that's what I'd like to see. And from then on, I'd like to see ATRN hold above this 20-day moving average and hit that 50-day. Get above it. She tried to get above it right here, couldn't get above it on that last run up. But from here on out, we need to see this get some type of uptrend and get some traction. So there's what we got for the chart.
It's good stuff, man. Very good stuff. I just want to throw in a couple things. Earlier tonight, we talked about the rising and the falling wedge. Okay, so at the beginning of this chart, if you, Sumo, could you go back to that chart for me there, man?
Yeah.
Thanks. Beginning of this chart, you could call it a rising wedge, and then when she broke it, down she came. Now one might want to call it a falling wedge. And what did we talk about earlier? Even though the rising wedge looks bullish in nature because the price per share is going up, actually when you draw the lines, and like I said, conversely, the rising wedge is a bearish pattern that is signaling that the security is likely to head in a direction. Okay, so you know, that is what it is. They don't always work out, but right now I'm going to go ahead and say this is a what? Falling wedge, and this is generally the bullish pattern and signaling that one will likely see the price break upwards through the wedge and move into an uptrend. Okay, now we got a couple other things going on here, like Sumo talked about. I really like that you see that 100 MA getting that scoop back up, even while the price per share is going down. And you also saw the RSI, like he said, finding the support on that overlay. That might be nothing now, but looking back hindsight in the next couple weeks, that might have been the signal. Another thing I want to do, since we were talking about different candles, I know I'm not the greatest candle guy, but I'm going to go ahead and call that last candle the high wave. Now, a high wave is a reversal. Again, it's an indecision candle. The reliability, it's medium, so it's not, you know, always. And of course, it being medium, it's going to need to be confirmed. And normally, this is confirmed by you know, the next day of trading being higher than that candle. And you usually get the high wave is whenever the stock goes from a high to a low and settles in the middle, just like you see there. You know, so you've got some indecision going on. I'd like to see this thing confirmed and head higher, find the support at the 20, and then like Sumo said, get through that 50, get through that 200, and or I mean that 100 MA, and let's see what she can do. You got that 200 MA all the way up at 79 cents. You can't even see it on this chart, so that'd be nuts. Go figure. But hey, who knows? Nobody thought this thing was going to almost 36 cents when we spotlighted it at 0.008. I know I didn't, but man, this has been fun tonight, Sumo. Good fun. I knew we could pull it off. I'm glad you called me up and said, hey, you know what? Just because the rest of the guys are lazy, we don't gotta be. We got people that want to hear us BS.
I want to keep going.
Oh, chime in. I'm sorry.
No, this is great. No, this is. I don't want to wrap it up. Let's find one more stock that is worthy to talk about, because I'm having just as much fun as you are, and I'm sure our listeners are having fun too. I've got a couple PMs and a couple of chat room messages that I've read that guys are having fun. So let's keep going. We'll find one more real fast for you to digress. Anything standing out on the buzz cloud to you? We'll go to the 3 hour. Go a little bit more recent. Let's see what's popping out to us. DNAD, we could have talked about that. You know, that we've talked about that plenty of times. That's up 14% today on almost 20 million shares.
You talk about Apple, man. Why don't you wrap it with Apple?
Wrap it up with Apple?
Yeah, considering today the $600 call went from 5 cents to 55 cents, closing at 45 cents for, well, you know, who wants to give me a percentage of that?
No, but just look at the chart, though. This is one of those stocks that, you know, she's been trending up, made the big move from 377.68 in December all the way up to 644, and notice it found support above the 20-day moving average. Boom. Look at how many times she bounced off of it. Cha-ching.
Yep.
And then once she broke below that 20-day, she lost support. But now look what's happening here. She's back above the 20-day. So this is huge, in my opinion. I think that Apple's looking strong again, and I think she's got a chance of getting back above this 50-day moving average, which is at 588. If it can get back above that, then I think she's got a chance back at 600 or better. So I was playing the calls today, and I thought that it was, you know, a good trade, because I think that it's strong, holding above this 20-day moving average. I could end up getting taken to the cleaner, taken to the house, but hey, who knows? You never know. I like to think that it closed with authority. It's looking strong at the end of the day. Look at the RSI. It's right at that 50 overlay. Now, just like the moving averages, the overlay is very key. And this is a moving average. In fact, it's the 50 MA overlay. So this is the 50 moving average. This is where the stock likes to trade. If she can get above it, that's going to be positive. She's already above the 50 line, which is good. After the 50 overlay, I want to see her continue to climb and get back in the power zone. Look what happened when it was in the power zone in the past. The stock just beasted and kept climbing. So Apple's looking good.
Yeah, she is looking good. And look at that candle yesterday.
That's the one, the wave you just mentioned.
Well, that can be a high wave. That one actually looks more like a, I would say that would be more of a long, that could be a doji, but you could call that a wave. I guess it's not really a long lady doji. I would say that's just a doji. And that's a low reliability, but it is a neutral reversal continuation pattern. But you could call it a high wave. The high wave usually has a little more meat in the middle, and the legs ain't long enough to be a long-legged doji, which is a little bit better reliability. But you can see the next day, we talked about, as with any reversal continuation pattern, is you look for that confirmation. The next day, you want to see a candle that can smoke up through and close higher than that indecision candle. And not only higher than the indecision candle, but you can see going back 3 days ago on Friday, where you Friday, where you had the red candle, where you peaked up, but then you closed lower, and then the next day you had, one might call it a hammer, and then yesterday you had the indecision, and today not only do we break above that indecision candle, we break higher than Friday's close. We're above the 20 MA. We're heading towards that 50 MA. It's at 588.35. I believe Apple traded down after hours, but that don't mean nothing. Look at the market. It was down 160 points today, and Apple rallied. I didn't even check the news because you know what? I don't even care what the news is. I'm playing the chart. If the news is so great, I'll flip on CNBC, guaranteed. One of those guys are talking about it. But yeah, man, this thing was a beast. And like I said, today I know there was a lot of different options to trade. The $600 call, guys, 5 cents to 55 cents. There's a 10-bagger for you.
Cha-ching.
Yep, cha-ching. But yeah, Apple, what a beast. The chart says it all, but keep your eyes on it because, like Sumo said, that 20 MA was your support going a long way back. The 50 tried to be support. It hasn't been successful. Now the 20 MA is a support again, but guess what is your resistance? That 50. So keep your eye on it. And here we go. Should be fun tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow is big, real big. You got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline tomorrow.
All right. Good stuff. Well, we had a good time tonight. You know what? I'm just reading in the chat room. Somebody was talking about DOMK. And yeah, that's a great one to talk about. As it's related to Apple, hello, they got the iPhone cases and the iPad cases. They got the solar cases, so it recharges your iPhone or your iPad. And you've seen the stock make moves before when they make these announcements in relation to the Apple products. Why? Because they're using Apple's name in their press releases. Of course they're going to get recognition. So, DOMK, sure, it's something to think about. We'll put it up on the, no, we're not going to put it up on the chart. We're just going to talk about it some other time.
Look at it tomorrow. Write that one down.
Write it down.
We never like to overlook our members' picks because you never know. We throw darts too, brothers. Like I was saying, real important tomorrow. Thursday, we all know jobless claims, but you also got your GDP, same time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So you morning guys, you'll be seeing the action that's going to be heading us where. That's going to definitely tell us where we're going. I mean, Europe's going to set the tone. ADP, 8:15 a.m. You got Challenger job cut report at 7:30 a.m. And then that GDP jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. So I'm not expecting much out of it. And then Friday, you've got that employment situation, the personal income and outlays, and the ISM manufacturing index. So get ready for this market to get crazy, hopefully in a good way. Hopefully we get some relief, but time will tell, and the tape will run her course.
Good stuff. Well, Siffy, high five to you, brother.
High five, Sumo.
Thanks for being my partner on tonight's show. I'm glad we can get this in. I had a lot of fun with you, and I look forward to joining you in the morning. And I hope everybody listening tonight joins us again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stock Traders Talk, and we're out.
Aloha, and keep your eye on gold, guys. It was at a 70-month low today, and it held that 1,500. So here we go. Make or break time. We're out.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled are commonly considered to be high risk, and use of the information provided is at the investor's sole risk. Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio.